Hello guys and welcome to our video. Today we're going to be discussing really why are the top coins stagnant? What's happening? What's going on? And really kind of take a look at some of the three that we're going to be doing, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we're going to do Avax since it's actually kind of going up a little bit, but what's going on altogether. So if you haven't already subscribed, drop a comment, click that bell, follow us for opinions, some analysis, and news in general. Bitcoin today is trading around 29,170 bucks. We're on the daily time frame, and the last couple of days have actually been pretty good for Bitcoin, right? Especially coming from 3 days ago from 28,000, we're trading around 29. It's looking pretty good. It is losing that momentum piece. The last couple of videos we made were speaking about the market structures, what's going on, how I was explaining to you guys how it was um, going to return back to that point, those major market structures. And this is what we have, right? So we were talking about that one being one, this is being another, and so forth. But what we have at this point, and when you look back right here, these wicks that were coming in, especially from the last couple of days, that's actually a result of the previous resistance coming in from back in March, and this is what you have. What? And this is that fighting through because once we're coming in, the selling power that's coming in, and well, that's what happened. So over and all together, it is pretty stagnant. When we're talking about being stagnant, why is Bitcoin stagnant, right? Well, the stagnation is coming one again back from those market structures. We're kind of stuck in this movement, and everybody's really kind of paying attention right now to the Feds. What's going on with the Feds? Money is kind of a tight moment to invest in, especially big time investors are, I mean, we have a huge cap of with Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these major caps are already in the billions, and they're not really folding their money as they should. So the lower cap coins, when they buy and they start to 20, 30x, 40x, that kind of thing, they start to actually get their money back. They start to fold 10 times or 5 times. So this is the thing where that's moving. So not a lot of big investors are actually dumping inside of this. Now, some of the smaller guys, you and I, and millions of others. Now, of course, we're pumping the coin, and this is what we're seeing here. These small wave movements, but it's not enough to break out above these key moments, right? Being at 40,000, being at 29 and a half or so. We're having that kind of fight for ourselves. And this is that area where it's a bit of a problem, right? So this is what's going on as far as that. Now, I do see once we can kind of push back over, get back into this area around 29, 30,000, we get past that hurdle. We said this last time because it's going to return back to this point, and this is where we're going to start to see that movement. Now, we're talking about May of 2022, right? We're slightly lower of what we were last year, but even it's that time of season when we're talking about just to kind of move some of this stuff for you guys to not be so cluttered. When we're talking about these areas, right? Look at how I had that huge pump. It's almost the same kind of pattern. We had that drop, that pump up here back in May, right? In that same pump, and then it, well, unfortunately, it fell. Now, I don't think it's going to be a repeat of this. But all in all, it is moving in that area, in that way. Now, back in May of 2021, we had a huge drop in everything, except we did have that stagnant moment for a couple of days, and it dropped. But at the end of April, we had that moment in April where it was kind of moving sideways. So, from the last couple of years, May has been a moment of sideways action, with some highs and some lows coming in, some major highs and lows. So we kind of have that a little bit. We need to reach to this point at least, but paying close attention to what the price action is going to do down. Now, a good solid price action for Bitcoin, something to trade on most safely, I think is around 25,000. That's rather safe to come by because we have these main contact points um, here and here, back from August and here, and when, of course, this one as well, giving a bit of an area. Sorry, this one. And this is going to be that main area to kind of see what's happening. So good area to kind of trade on based on that. Um, so anything above that's really doing quite well. When we look at some different, the 24-hour volume, right? You can see we had some big spikes coming in, but nothing too big. And you can see like, I mean, it's going to get lower, lower, and lower, unfortunately. But the 24-hour volume, is pretty stagnant too, just not too much going in, right? Let's take a look at another coin. Let's look at Ethereum, trading at 1,903, also kind of bullish, but with some selling going on. There's still around 18 hours left. We were talking about that being in the market structure. We paid attention to this one before, right? Those trend lines that were coming up. I mean, this is back in 2022. We talked about that just kind of going in, and that it was going to start dropping from that moment, and it did. This was that big key moment. But what about now? Right now, we're going to call this our major line. And when I say, well, I mean, here's one, right? But let's say here's the second line of support, and just making it a little bit right around here. And there we go. Now what's happening? All right, so we're back to that market structure again here, being that key moment that we're touching back in June. We have another, and well, it's just small, but you can see we're right around this area, give and take some of this area. All right, so like I said, that being said, now we're reaching that support level or a resistance level and pushing it back down, and this is what you're seeing today and what's happening. When we drop down to the 4-hour chart, you can see it's actually starting to gain momentum and selling pressure, coming in from stop losses for people that went short, for example, and it's driving that price back down from what we're talking. And we're right in this area in this moment for the 4 hours. You can see that. So the people that went short for Ethereum, they're going up, they're hitting that stop loss, and it's dropping. You see that, and the same thing can apply to anything that's going on with people that went long, and it starts to drop, and it's going to drive it further, of course, hitting stop losses. So you're kind of fighting against the wind right now. But coming back to the previous market structure to reach in 2000 is possible to do so. That major market structure we have to reach back to, I mean, it's a long shot, is around 2000 bucks. We need to get to that point to where we're starting to see. Now, Ethereum's not doing so hot to compare to some others, but it's only basically coming from that 2000 mark to hurdle up to the next, or and kind of getting everything to settle. But it's also moving stagnant when we look at those times as well. I mean, May, June, the same thing where we're talking about with Bitcoin kind of follows along, same kind of stagnant sideways patterns moving in. So it's rather typical, just like with Ethereum. It's kind of hard to really go off that, but Ethereum had some, let's call it some kind of rough patches within the last year, some really hard drops. We had one big good swing back in January, and another, and we're back in the third. So it's moving in, but we really need to reach about 2,500 to really get back in. But some hard movements coming in, but we'll just have to pay attention to see what's going to happen next. Avax is up a little bit to where it was, but it started to go down, trading around 17 bucks and 15 cents. It's also getting stagnant a little bit as well, also reaching that sideways movement, really kind of coming in from, and I'm just going to draw a couple of boxes. They're not really our support levels, but you can see here is that moment where it's kind of following along, and here as well, where Avax is not really pushing and moving in. If we're talking about of the next year, let me just move in, right, of last year, sorry. Last year in May, we're in July and June, May. All right, so May and June. It actually dropped May of last year. We had that big drop coming in from there. But this year we have kind of the same thing going on. I mean, it's just the beginning of May, first of all. But we had that huge drop from towards the from the 18th of April and kind of coming in. Also, we built that strong line of support, and I would say it's a very strong line of support, really. And so, as long as we can kind of stay above it, moving in which we are, the next moment around 18 bucks we need to pay attention to. But we're also fighting again, moving into the resistance level, those stop losses that are coming in is pushing that down further, but nothing major. Over and all, if you really take a look at the market, it is healthy because of the swings in that moment. I mean, buying and selling. Investors aren't really going to go into it also because it's high. It is a high moment for it's a very high market cap, and it's a heightening moment to try to catch what's going on. We're all following the huge investors, and they're going to start buying a lot of these lesser coins with those lower market cap coins, and this is the thing to be paying attention to now, is because some of those coins will start to grow, but it won't necessarily be a true growth because eventually when they leave, it's going to crash, right? So those huge whales, that's the thing to pay attention to. So there's some stability with those high market cap coins. Uh, but volatile low market cap ones because we just pump and dump them and don't get caught in that crosshair. So even though it's stagnant at this point, it's giving you a moment to kind of enter the market quite well and understand the market when those whales are out of it. So even though you already have this moment where we're just that sideways action, when those whales aren't moving, and they're not really kind of pumping it up, you really get to see what the market is doing without them. And so you can kind of see what's going on and base your strategy on that. All right, as the market as a whole, Bitcoin is up by 2.3%, Ethereum's 2.1, we have XRP by 1.8%, which is doing great, and Maddox by 3.1, Avax is 2.5%. So all in all, the crypto world is in the green, which is very, very beautiful. We want to see it kind of pump up. Solana is up by 2.1%, by the way, which is really good. Given that, well, the week hasn't been, or the last couple of days haven't been so great. Either way, support our channel, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what you think. Is it going to touch down? Are we going to move up? What are the whales going to do at this point? Thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next video.